Born to Ride, a story about bicycle face. Written by Larissa Theule. Pictures by Kelsey Goretti Riley. In Rochester, New York, in the year 1896, girls and women lived by a long list of things they were told not to do. They were not to vote, for example. That was against the law. They were also told not to wear pants or ride a bicycle. But Louise Belinda Bellflower had a mind to ride a bicycle, no matter what anyone might say. Her brother Joe had been given a brand new Van Cleve, and riding it looked like a whole lot of fun. This was Louise Belinda Bellflower's everyday outfit. Not comfortable, I think you will agree. This was Joe's everyday outfit. Also not comfortable, but at least one could cartwheel in it. Louisa Belinda cast aside her skirts and put on her brother's pants. "Teach me to ride," she said. "What will Mother say?" Joe asked. "She needn't know," said Louisa Belinda. "But what about," Joe lowered his voice, "bicycle face? It's real, you know. Everyone says so, even Dr. Brown. He says girls aren't strong enough to balance, that your eyes will bulge and your jaw will close up from the strain of trying, maybe forever." Louisa Belinda had heard the rumors. She considered for a moment. She had lovely eyes, and how would she eat with a closed-up jaw? But Joe's eyes did not bulge, his jaw had not closed up, and she could balance the length of a fallen log, just the same as he could. Nervous, she said anyway, "I was born to ride." Joe was a good teacher, patient and clear in giving instructions. Even so, Louisa Belinda fell. And fell again, and again, and again, and again. Joe said, "Want to call it a day?" Louisa Belinda heard all over. She touched her eyes, tested her jaw. "How's my face?" "Same as ever," Joe said. Louisa Belinda sighed, relieved. A very large part of her wanted to give up, to go inside for tea and cake and a hot bath. But if she gave up now, would she ever try again? So she said, "I will ride." She hopped back on, wobbled, then lo, she rode. With some alarm, she felt her eyes bulge and her mouth widen into a gigantic, joyous smile. Like a bird in flight, she soared over the hill. Like a fox on the prairie, she skimmed the ground. Like a bear, she roared, "Hello, world, this is my bicycle face." "Those pants seem quite practical, Louisa Belinda," said Mother. "They are." "Joe, dear," said Mother, "is Father's bicycle in good riding condition?" "Tip-top condition." Louisa Belinda grinned. "Mother," she said, "what will your bicycle face be, I wonder?" About bicycle face. By the 1890s, people were wild for bicycles. Bicycle madness had taken over the country, and even those who didn't ride were eager to talk about everything relating to the bicycle wheel. Two topics in particular generated a lot of enthusiasm. Perhaps the most fervid conversation centered on women cyclists, known as wheelwomen, who rode in the face of convention. But another subject also drummed up intense debate. Was bicycling dangerous to one's health? Cyclists, especially wheelwomen, were cautioned to guard against afflictions such as bicycle leg, bicycle hump, and bicycle face. Bicycle face, it was said, came from the strain of staying balanced and focused on the road. Supposedly, you could tell when people had bicycle face by the way their eyes bulged and how their jaws tightened. While anyone might acquire a bicycle affliction, bicycle face was disproportionately applied to women, and with particular meanness. You see, not everyone approved of women riding bicycles. Women were expected to be pretty, demure, and domestic, but wheelwomen often contradicted these perceptions. Many people publicly, sometimes viciously, scolded women for bicycling, calling it improper, a direct challenge to the male sphere, and dangerous to women's health. Saying a woman had bicycle face was an attempt to intimidate and shame her, and ultimately keep her from the wheel. Fortunately, wheelwomen ignored their critics. They formed clubs and opened cafes where they could meet in safety and peace. They established a magazine called the Wheelwomen. They taught one another how to fix their own bicycles. They competed in races and broke records. They adjusted their fashion so they could ride unrestricted, wearing shorter skirts and loose-fitting pants called bloomers, with functional pockets to hold a whistle, a handkerchief, and a few small tools. Bicycling was a fun and speedy mode of transportation, granting women greater freedom to exercise, socialize, travel, and work. And no threat of bicycle face could keep them from the wheel. Like Louise Belinda, wheelwomen knew that a true bicycle face is one of joy. From bicycles to votes. During the bicycle craze of the 1890s, bicycling was just one of many freedoms sought by women. Women also wanted access to education, sought personal and financial independence, were career-minded and had opinions and voiced them, and women wanted to vote. Women had no representation and no voice in government, which was made up only of men who passed laws controlling and restricting women's rights and freedoms. The women's suffrage movement was a brave and necessary struggle against oppression, but it also spanned decades and was indefensibly segregated. Racially inclusive suffragist gatherings, like the one portrayed in Louise Belinda's home, were rare. Powerful voices that influenced the slow-moving movement included those of Lucretia Mott, Sojourner Truth, Lucy Stone, Susan B. Anthony, Josephine St. Pierre Ruffin, and Ida B. Wells. Despite setbacks and sometimes violent resistance, women organized and persisted, and won the right to vote in 1920 when the 19th Amendment was ratified. However, state-sanctioned voter suppression tactics kept many women and men of color from the ballot box, and not until the Voting Rights Act of 1965 were all people of age guaranteed the right to vote without impediment. To this day, the right to vote is a free and fair election and is one we fight to retain, not only for ourselves, but also for our neighbors. Whether we're learning to ride a bike, facing insults for realizing our dreams, or championing our rights, there will always be times when we fall down and get hurt. When that happens, the thing that matters most is what we do next. Can you guess what that should be? You got it! We get back up and try again, and maybe again, and probably again after that, until we truly learn to ride.